National Assembly, the agency that has the constituted authority to approve the budget to enable the Niger Delta Development Commission address the various unique developmental challenges in the commission. Of course, as an accountant, I knew the consequences of operating an agency of government without an approved budget from the National Assembly. And so, on the 15th December or thereabout, I made a request, a passionate request to the Senate chairman, to the two chambers, to the National Assembly, which was transmitted to the House of Reps and the Senate. And graciously, the President of the Senate and the House of Reps obliged that request. And I was opportune to come here and address the senators. And at the end of the day, the budget was duly approved.
Sorry, for which year?
For 2020.
For 2020?
Yes, December, that was December. December, about 20th of day of December, or 20th or 25th December. So subsequently, the National Assembly, the House...
Let's be clear. That one that was...
Because 2020 was a financial year.
Yes.
We need to get clarification. Yes.
10th of December. Yes. 2020, yes.
2020 to the budget.
Yes, yes. So when I came, the National Assembly, the House of Reps, further made a presentation. And I think it was, the argument was that we had barely 10 days to go to the end of the year, and that nothing can happen with that budget, that there was need for a budget to be reconsidered. So they went to the plenary, they reconsidered the budget and gave me an extension. There were votes and proceedings. That was forwarded to me. They gave an extension for the budget to be run up to year 31st of December 2021, meaning in effect that we had a budget for 2021. The documents are there. The letter is there that conveyed the budget to me. The vote and proceedings was given to me as evidence, as authority to go ahead with the entire budget of 2021. So I'm surprised when I heard people say that the presentation yesterday was like, God, I want to thank you for the wisdom to invite me, because outside that, it would look as if you would have taken this committee to it would have driven this committee into taking wrong decision. So 2021 budget expired on the 31st of December 2021. Then in 2022, in line with the extant rule,
what expired in 2020?
I had forwarded the budget of 2021. I want to go serially, and then I will still come to your question.
Just let me because see, SUCE-IKO, we need to follow your story.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
That's why we're projecting, okay?
Yes.
We're all here to listen to you.
Yes, sir.
Now, you said 2020, you appointed December.
Yes.
You came to the National Assembly. Look, I've just been appointed. Ratify the budget. And they obliged. They approved the budget and extended the life of 2020 budget. 2020 budget to end 2021.
Listen and take
notes. Please take notes. And my colleague there, the only lady, as you rightly addressed her, she asked, was there a different budget for 2021? Remember, you said when you appointed 2020 December, you came and they said, okay, implement this 2020 budget up to December 2021. So now she's asking, and it's pertinent to clarify that, was there another budget for 2021? In which case, it will be that you were implementing there were two budgets. The one for 2020, which had been extended to end December 2021, and then the fresh estimates for year 2021. Is that what you are saying?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, go on.
Sorry to clarify, when the two budgets are running
Yes.
And running concurrently.
concurrently, is it only capital that is running concurrently or both? Because you cannot run salaries, you cannot run the current.
No, the capital budget,
You can only
Use
run
your
the
mic.
capital.
the capital budget
Your
of
mic.
2020 will be running. The recurrent
Hold
budget,
your mic.
of course, people's salaries must be paid. Training, other allowances, and so on would be paid.
So, but for 2021, both recurrent and capital.
We forwarded to the National Assembly also.
It's just the extent of forwarding.
Yes, 2021 was forwarded. And let me also make it clear that on yearly basis, all budgets are often transmitted to the office of the Chief of Staff to the President via the supervising ministry. And that we do religiously. You won't miss it because you have no reason to miss. 2021 was also given before 30th from the records I have seen was given. Then 2022 was also transmitted before 30th of September, in line with the provisions of Section 18 of the Act. Yes. So in the year 2022, between January and May, if you have an approved budget that expired in the 31st of December 2021, for 2022, the constitutional provision is there, Section 82, and the extant rule is that you can operate that pending when you receive from the National Assembly. You can explain a percentage, you can carry out a certain percentage of the preceding year's budget up to 31st of May or June, thereabout. You are given that latitude, yes. So it is not, it wouldn't be right to say that there was no budget, there was expenditure for January to December to May or June 2022 was not captured, because you have to do a percentage of what you had in approval. But the submission that I will add is that at every point in time, I overheard the minister who mentioned that that there were delays previously in the office of the minister. I beg to differ, because from the documents I have given, we have acknowledgement copies of budgets that were sent to the office of the minister, because the minister, remember, minister acted in place of the chairman of the board. The moment if we were to have a chairman of the board, it is the chairman that takes over. Board must be approved, whatever budget, capital or revenue must be approved by the board before it gets to the presidency. But during my tenure as interim administrator, we're working with over 44 directors. Having completed that, the person that acted like the board chairman as at then was a minister. We sent it there, and the minister that I knew very well was very, very timely, an ex-senator. Legislators don't joke with issues that pertain to the act. He will always remit the budget of NDDC to the presidency as at when due, not without fail. You can see from the receipt stamps and so on. So, but the issue that we had, I also overheard somebody mention that when the...
Not you overheard somebody, you were there when...
I was there. I was there when the minister said...
Don't be as if you are reporting rumor.
Okay.
You were there.
I was there. When they said that there was understanding in the presidency that the budget should be held on until forensic audit. That is another, like writing another constitution, writing for the country and so on. Because forensic audit or no forensic audit, whether you like the person's face or not, whether you like the minister's face or the MD's face or not, the moment it is our responsibility to collect the budget of the commission. Because you have no business, the executive have no business over except you want to have any amendment you want to add, you can send back to the commission and say add this amendment. But theirs is just to receive and send to the legislators. It is a duty, a constitutional duty of the National Assembly given under Section 81 to consider the budget. If they deem fit, they will approve. If they don't, they have the right to cancel, amend, adjust, and so on, and then send back to the commission. For the first time, we are seeing something strange because we were not, the delay in sending NDDC budget is never that of the National Assembly. Because they were not, because we have, National Assembly, we have representatives in our people. We were asking them, I asked my senator, is it possible that you are sitting on our budget? He said, far be it. I asked the chairman of the committee, are you sitting on the budget? He said, far be it. The budget is yet to be presented to us by the executive in line with the provisions of the act. So my submission is that, my request to these distinguished senators is that we should take notice of this, that at a certain time that we want to amend the NDDC Act, it must be made mandatory, obligatory, compulsory, that upon the receipt of, no executive has power to sit on something that you cannot even amend, you cannot approve. Send it the way they are. If you have any input, then you pass on to the senators and the legislators who are the representatives of the people, who have the capacity to speak for the people, who can amend the document. Because they create this problem for us. And at the end of the day, it would, they delay the submission. It would, okay. So, yeah. Okay, ma'am. Thank you very much. So, I wouldn't want to take you too far, because if we do this, we will be having delays. Like in 2020, before I came, there were no capital budgets. Capital implementations were almost all. They were only paying legacy debts. People who did job for many, many years and were not paid, those were the ones, and some of them were going to court to get injunction and court orders for payment and so on. People were suffering. The Niger Deltans were suffering. If we allow this situation to continue, and presently, the population of Niger Delta, as predicted by the United Nations population, is about 40 million. It therefore means that we are going to put these 40 million people, their lives in jeopardy. So these are the things I will humbly request that the senators will put in their recommendation. Thank you, distinguished senators. I will answer other questions as they come.
The budget before us, and he said that in all the budgets presented to him, he sent them to the presidency exactly the way he got them from NDDC, that he never changed any figure. But I realized that with the submission you sent to us yesterday, there was discrepancy between the figure in which you budgeted and the figure which was presented to the president of the country. So for submission to National Assembly, can you clarify issues on that? Thank you.
Well, thank you, Honorable. Thank you, distinguished senator. I do not think that was a true position, because when we come here, we are speaking under oath. We should do this committee justice by telling the whole truth and nothing but the truth, because you are even here to improve our lives and the lives of the Niger Delta people. It's not correct. For instance, in year 2020, the budget that was approved for me and extended was 400 and, in year 2021, the budget that we sent to National Assembly was 485. When the chairman was reading the figures yesterday, I took note. I saw 485 million. That was in order. But 2021 budget, I submitted with my hand. You can see my attachment 5 from my submission. I submitted a budget of 582 billion. But I heard the chairman read 928 billion. So that was not, and I did that. My submission was as of 23rd of September 2021. By then, the previous minister, who is now a senator-elect, was still on seat. I was the one who made this. My letter is there. They gave me acknowledgement. 2020. So I do not see how in 2023 my budget of 582 billion can now be 928. Except that in 2023 we can do, I mean, if an adjustment is made, it should be for the current year's budget, not for the year that had passed. And detail for the year the 2022 budgets were the figures we sent. And it's not correct to say that they don't have input. When you are sending, I am speaking under oath, you are sending budgets, you are sending with the soft copy. You, in fact, there will be a pre-session. You had the session with your supervisor, or if it is a chairman of the board that you have, you must get to the board. You must have the buy-in of the board, of the chairman of the board, to say this is the project we want to do, this is not the one we want to do, we want to go this way and we don't want to go this way. From the inputs you are getting from the board, it is then that management goes with this input to go and prepare a budget and send back to the same board for approval before the presidency. During my time as interim administrator, we had a session with the minister. I wish he was here. And he suggested some projects. He said subject to availability of funds. Of course, budgeting is projections, subject and depending on certain parameters. So he may not be correct. It's not correct to say that he didn't have input. He had sufficient input, and the input is even beyond what I'm even seeing here for 2021. The input I gave and the letter we wrote was 582 billion. I'm seeing reports here 922 billion. So it is not correct, your distinguished senator.
You are sole administrator.
Interim administrator.
Interim administrator. But in any case, you were a sole administrator, is that not right?
Interim
you did not have a board.
Yes.
So you were there was no other, but you were running that place alone, more or less.
Not alone.
You had the civil servants, they were there.
Directors.
Yes.
About 44 of them.
So there was you were not an MD. There was no board. So you were actually the personification of the management and the board in you. Is that correct?
No, it's not correct. We have directors, about 44 directors. It takes a whole lot of years to be a director.
Yes.
17. Level
Yes.
17 is not a small thing. And from there you become PEMSEC. From there you can head a parastatal, you can become a senate, you can go back if your people so wish to elect you. So it's not we had 44 of them. In fact, on an healthy number. So they were there. We were always having a management committee. So upon decision.
So that's what it means.
Yes.
That's what it means.
Yes. Thereafter.
Because if you don't have the board,
Yes.
you don't have the EDs, you don't have the state reps, you were in actual fact a sole administrator, my friend. Yes, you had the civil servants working there, they are directors.
Interim administrator, you can call it maybe.
That was your name, that was the description.
Sole administrator.
Okay, so let's not quarrel about it.
Okay, go ahead.
Your position is that for 2020, by December, when you were appointed, you came here,
Yes.
the National Assembly extended the life of the 2020 budget to lapse December 2021.
Yes, correct.
So your position is that you had a budget.
Yes.
In fact, you had two budgets running concurrently.
Not two budgets running.
No, wait, because you had the budget for 2020, now extended, and you had another budget for 2021. So for 2021, you had two budgets. You have already said so, we're not quarreling about that.
For 2021, the budget was with the National Assembly. Capital issues, capital budget was with the National Assembly. You cannot be running, you can't appropriate, do things that was not appropriated. Yes.
So you didn't have any 2021 budget?
Yes, all the capital budget things we did was as enshrined in the 2020 budget that was never implemented because of the stalemate they had then.
Good, that's what we want to clarify.
Yes.
Now for 2022, your position is that the budget, the 2022 budget lapses 2023, stays or is valid till 2023.
No, I was not in 2020. We are now in 2023.
Yes.
No, I was not even in 2023, so you couldn't.
No. We are talking of the 20. What is your position on the 2022 budget?
2021 budget extended till 2020 budget the approval of 2021 budget stayed in the commission and expired about May, June thereabout, in line with the external rules. Which
Yes. When? Which year?
2022.
Oh.
And by September, I had left the commission in October. So, and thereby ushering in an acting MD and the minister, they were fully in charge then. Between that, October, November, December. I think the current board that we have, the lady by my right, came in January, if I'm not mistaken.
No, I was asking of your position on the 2022 budget.
The position on the 2022 budget is that we had a budget running till June of that 2022. After that June, it lapses. There was no budget.
Let me be very
Can you clarify?
Yes. Yeah.
You came in 2020, right?
Yes.
You came in 2020.
Yes.
And in 2020, by the time you came in, there was no budget for 2020.
Yes.
Then you now wrote the National Assembly, or rather through the presidency, whichever one, it will end in National Assembly for approval. You sent in the budget of 2020 in December 2020, which means as at the time you entered the NDDC, there was no budget.
Yes.
The budget was there, but it wasn't approved. So you had that 2020 being extended to 2021 because it wasn't implemented in 2020.
Exactly.
Which means in 2021, you had two budgets.
Exactly.
The main budget for 2021 and the extended budget of 2020 that lapsed into 2021.
Yes.
Then that of 2021 budget, that's the main budget, not the extended one.
Yes.
It wasn't approved. It was sitting in the National Assembly. It didn't come out.
National Assembly. It didn't come to National Assembly.
It doesn't matter whether it came or not. There was no budget. It wasn't passed. So you didn't lay your hands on it.
Exactly.
Which means it was the budget of 2020 that you implemented in 2021.
Exactly.
Then your office also continued till 2022.
Yes.
Which means as at the 2022, the 2021 budget wasn't there. And 2022 budget wasn't there. Which means the 2 years budget, you didn't lay your hands on it before you left. That's what we wanted to know.
That's what we're trying to clarify.
Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, so for a follow-up, so that we are clear too, you operated the 2020 budget in 2021 as approved. Did you find out whether by the time you are coming in, they were spending money, capital budget, without the approval of that 2020 budget?
It will amount to me taking over the place of an inspector or external auditors.
So you didn't know. So it's possible that that 2020 budget, even before you got it approved, it was being expended. You don't know. You can't talk about that.
I wouldn't think so, because the National Assembly made it categorically clear. Then there were some issues that they were suspending all capital projects.
So probably they did not spend. Okay, fine. So now.
So it is expected that the entire capital budget of 2020 was to be operated in 2020.
So good. So now in 2021, because you had the approval with extension, you operated the 2020 budget throughout 2021. By January 2022, when 2021 budget had expired, you are still the MD, correct?
Yes.
Now, you had to rely on the external laws now to start implementing 2022. What budget did you use in that implementation between January and May using the external
The
law?
extant law is that you use the last preceding year's budget that was approved.
Which is the 2020.
Yes.
Now, by the time you use it, when that expires in May, can you tell us on record that you did not do anything wrong? You didn't do any expenditure from that May up to the time you were leaving in September, October?
There were no expenditure outside the statutory what is allowed, like payment of salaries,
No, of course.
repairs and maintenance, and maybe when you have emergency, the Niger Delta being flooded area and so on, you can have emergency. They can tell you East-West Road is broken and there are strikes everywhere. Emergency projects, of course, emergency projects are emergency. Emergency has a rule on there's a procurement law on emergency. Emergency, as the name implies, emergency that happens.
That's fine. So you did not, as far as you are concerned, you did not operate the 2021 budget. You only use the external law to use the 2020 as approved.
Save for salaries, save for emergency, save for salaries, emergencies, and payment of legacy debts. Legacy.
How long were you there as interim?
For that, between the May and September, that's May, June, July, August, September.
Okay.
Not 2 years, a year and 6 months.
Yeah, I'm still.
A year, 6 months. A year, 6 months.
Yes.
And within that a year, 6 months, you implemented only one calendar year.
One calendar year,
Operation.
and the extension that's given to you by the rules. Yes. And the extension that's given to you from January
That
to...
lapsed in May.
That lapsed in May, June.
And you left in September.
I left in September.
So when you were going, you left and, of course, a kind of your scorecard before leaving the place. You handed over to your successor.
Well, let's not go into
Was there any budget that you handed over to your successor? That's what I'm asking.
Of course, the budgets were there in the National Assembly. I made my presentation to the minister that as you are coming, this is a position. What we are having presently is the extended budget to cover our expenditure for 2021. We are covered by the provisions of the National Assembly, but that does not mean that we should not follow up and obtain the budgets for 2021 and 2022 in the interest of
So
the people.
in summary, what you're trying to tell us in summary
Yes.
is that there was no budget passed for 2021 and no budget passed for 2022. The two budgets were before the National Assembly.
Before the National
prior to
Assembly.
exit.
And let's get it this way. There was no budget passed, but we had the National Assembly approval for all expenditure of 2021 via the extended budget that was given to us.
Yeah,
Okay.
They have the right to extend any budget.
Yes.
It's law.
And we, in 2022, between January and June, we operated on the latitude that gave us, that the provisions of the Constitution that gave us in Section 82, and the extant rules, financial regulations.
What was the problem? Why didn't the budget come to us? Did you ask question? Because you should be bothered.
Yes,
that you sent out budget and it didn't come to National
Yes,
Assembly. So
yes.
what was the reason given to you?
Executive-
Why the budget was not sent to
Executive
National
authority.
Assembly?
Executive authority.
No, I'm asking.
Yes.
What reason was given?
Nobody-
Why the budget didn't get to National
Nobody
Assembly?
gave any reason apart from the fact that, the budget, the forensic audit was going on. We said the forensic
And that
audit.
was by the minister?
Yes, by the minister.
Okay.
That was by the presidency. I think
By the presidency?
by the office of the chief of staff.
Okay.
And even
So
when
because of forensic audit going on, they couldn't send the budget to National Assembly.
Yes, and the
so
minister
they wanted the forensic to end before
Yes.
sending the budget
Yes,
to us.
and they
But
then-
did they know that you were still going on with the extended budget as at the time they were giving you those
They knew,
reasons?
they knew. And the then minister, who happened to be a senator, had also written to them that forensic audit or no forensic audit, the
Let the
executive
budget
had
go
no right to sit on something that should, as of right, ought to be sitting with the National Assembly, that they should release. And they kept on promising, we will do it, and
It wasn't done.
it wasn't
All
done.
right. So in concluding, you agreed that 2021 and 20.
Our expenditure in the commission was covered in 2021, was also covered in January 2021 to June 2022.
Yes, after that I'm asking, except you are not.
Yes.
After that, I'm saying.
After that, it may be correct to say that all things spent in the end of up to the end of quarter of 2022 to date, is except for salaries. Salaries is not covered, and overhead. Salaries and overhead would not. And I remember recurrent expenditure and overhead.
So fine, that's my point. So you agree with me that yes, after that June closure, any other expenditure there is legal. We didn't have any preceding budget that has been approved.
Preceding budget.
Thank you.
We have established, all of us, that by the Constitution and the extant financial regulations, no MD, including the NDDC, under you as interim administrator or sole administrator, as I prefer to call it, you were not allowed by the rules and the Constitution to go outside administrative recurrent expenditures. We have established that. Having established that now, I want to take you to what you called emergency projects. Of course, you know, I'm from the Niger Delta, as you do know very well. And we have heard a lot from the NDDC of late, from when you were there, of the concept of emergency projects. We will need clarification. What do you mean by emergency projects? I know that you talked about the East-West Road being flooded. East-West Road being flooded. But you can't have East-West Road being flooded all year round. So what do you mean by emergency projects, one? And to the best of your knowledge, you are not there, we know. So even if you can't give us exact figures and numbers, we will get them. That's why we're here. 2020, when you got there, do you know or can you give us an idea as to the percentage of expenditures for 2020 that went into these so-called emergency projects? And same for 2021 and 2022.
For 2021.
Sorry, hold on, please, hold on. Look, as a follow-up to this question, I want to guide you and I want you to say it on record. What exactly is your understanding of the external laws that permits you to incur expenditure to May? Because from your presentation, your understanding is that you can incur any expenditure, capital, emergency, but the spirit of the Constitution is very clear. You don't want people's salary to be held. You don't want the organization to be grounded. That is why that provision is made. So I want you to be clear. Do you have that clear understanding?
I have a clear understanding.
Thank you very much.
Let me further clarify.
Respect of any financial year has not been passed into law by the beginning of the financial year. The president may authorize, not shall, may authorize the withdrawal of monies from the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the Federation for the purpose of meeting expenditure necessary to carry on the services of the government of the Federation for a period not exceeding 6 months or until the coming into operation of the Appropriation Act, whichever is the earlier, either 6 months or Appropriation Act. But let me clarify the one you are just talking about. Provided that the withdrawal in respect of any such period shall not exceed the amount authorized to be withdrawn from the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the Federation under the provisions of the Appropriation Act passed by the National Assembly for the corresponding period in the immediately preceding financial year, being an amount proportionate to the total amount so authorized for the immediately preceding financial year. That's exactly what you said. But what my colleague is asking, he talked about emergency. There is no provision for expenditure of any amount of money by any agency, by any ministry, except as prescribed and authorized by the National Assembly. We have National Emergency Management Agency in this country. That is the only agency that is authorized by law to meet up immediate emergencies like flooding, fire outbreak, and all of that. No ministry or agency of government has rights to touch money or spend money on behalf of government without being authorized or approved by the National Assembly. So that is exactly what my colleague is saying, so that you don't box yourself to a corner.
That's the position. You were asking of explanation. I wasn't there.
Your understanding?
I wasn't there during the last emergency. I had left the commission before then. I was only explaining. I had left when the flood started. And even when we made a presentation to the ministry, approval didn't come. So we didn't do anything. So I was not there. So that is that. Your position is my position, is the position of the law, so we cannot change it. Your position on emergency is my position and we cannot change it. I only mentioned one that I heard of, that I saw in the last, but I didn't implement it because I was not on seats as at when it was implemented, which was the the flooding. I was not there. I had left. Yes.
So do we take it to mean that 2020, you as sole administrator, interim administrator, you never authorized any expenditures under the caption emergency projects?
We didn't.
What of 2021? There was none?
We didn't. Outside the budget. And if you check the budget of the National Assembly also, I don't know why they had that. We had mentioned to them, even when you look at the approved budget, you will also see them list the emergency provision of this inside the budget. So that one cannot be called.
No, if there is a provision in the budget
And it was
approved, you don't have a problem with that. That's an appropriation.
Exactly.
You can run with that.
Perfect.
Yes.
Perfect. So
other than that,
they had none.
All
Only
right.
emergency.
Wrong with that when it is approved.
Approved, yes.
Not when it is not approved.
Approved. Approved.
Caption of the project.
Yes, approved.
That does not mean that it could be the caption of the budget in the budget analysis, but that does not mean that when it is not approved and you see an emergency, you go and implement emergency because it's mentioned emergency in the budget. It must be appropriated by the National Assembly before that money is spent.
Yes, distinguished senator, you're right. We had only 2 emergencies about that period, which I saw. I was not there. The COVID, that was before I came, and thereafter flood by the time I was leaving. So outside that was no other emergency. I was not there. I heard of it.
In type, consequent upon the above, sir, we respectfully request, guys, I want us to clarify this issue very, very well. Please.
Immediately after this, I saw that.
yes.
Request Your Excellency, the Senate President, to graciously approve that we defend 2020 budget of the Commission on Wednesday. Your presentation has said that they have actually given you the opportunity to come and defend the 2020 budget, right?
Yes.
I want you to answer.
Yes, Chairman.
Okay.
Yes, Chairman.
All right. Now, number 2. You also said the budget that was approved was now extended to December 2021.
Yes, Chairman.
To operate to 2021. Now, you attached votes and proceedings of House of Reps. But the vote and proceedings of the House of Reps was in November 2021. It's in 2021. Now, if you look at page 1747, of the votes and proceedings, 1747, where I underline, it is said that issue from statutory, this the total budget of 409 billion. What is approved here is 409 billion. And it was approved in 2021 November. You are talking about 2020 December.
Right.
These votes are in 2021 November. So that means 2020 budget has not been approved. Even if it's extended, you cannot extend what you have not been approved. So there was not approved 2020 budget. That is point number 1. Point number 2, if you are relying on section 82 of the Constitution, it is clearly specified here, upon the approval of Mr. President. It has to be with the approval of Mr. President. So if you operate 2020 budget that was not approved by National Assembly, on the basis of the fact that section 82 requires that you can spend up till, half of what was approved in 2019, because we have to refer to 2019 now. And it has to be with full approval of Mr. President. We will require explicit approval of Mr. President. The 2020 was not approved, but you have to spend this on services, not even on capital. So there are about 3 or 4 issues, muddled up together. So we have to really, really bring them out clearly. Now, I'm coming. Now, since that is the case, even 2020 was not approved. 2021 was not approved. 2022 was not approved. 2023 was not approved. That is on the expenditure side. We have not come to revenue side. Meanwhile, in 2020, revenues came in. In 2021, revenues came in. In 2022, revenues came in. And revenues did not stop. So, these revenues have accumulated over time. And without approved expenditure on the other side, we can see that nothing has actually been approved. Revenue has not been approved for you to spend. Expenditures were not approved for you to do. And Mr. President, unless if you can give us the letter of Mr. President approving according to Section 82 for 2020, then we can move for Mr. President approval for also 2021, also for 2022. So the point I'm saying, I am laying a foundation so that you can see, even the 2021, 2022, even 2020, there was the basis for the operation in 2020 has not been approved. The extension you are talking about was done in November 2021 and not in December as you have actually put here. So, for me, I want you clearly here to state, one, there was no approval of National Assembly for 2020. If you have the approval, let us have documentary evidence that the National Assembly has approved for you to operate 2020 budget in 2021, not to rely on Section 82. And if you are relying on Section 82, give us the approval of Mr. President that he has approved for you to spend 50% of the budget of 2019. Okay?
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, so closely, I need a clarification to MD. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, in your letter, that's attachment 1 to the Senate President, right? Number 5, you said, consequent upon the above, sir, are you there? We respectfully request Your Excellency, the Senate President, to graciously approve that we defend the 2020 budget of the Commission on Wednesday, 16 December 2020. Was this approved? For you to defend it on this day?
Yes.
Did you defend it?
Yes.
So, is there a vote of proceeding for that? Because I'm seeing a request for Senate.
It's not in my capacity to obtain votes and proceed.
No, but you
So why are you putting?
This one was given to me. I only give. Yes. No, I don't need to apply. It should be there. It was not given to me. I'm not. NDDC is not an extension of National Assembly.
No, so why are you?
You cannot have. Yes. Yes. And Chairman, sir, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to humbly and respectfully refer Mr. Chairman to attachment 3, up to the 4th page. You will see the approval you are looking for. This is House of Representatives, it's not from me. And it is written, I can read. I can, and 4 pages to the end, just 4 pages to the end, you see attachment 3. Attachment 3, yes. Notification by the House of Representatives, National Assembly. Notification of amendment of the lifespan of 2020 approved budget. I'm responding to what the chairman said. Communicated to me approved budget of the National. So I rest the case.
The point I'm referring to, this approval came in 2021 November. I'm coming. That is 1 year after you had meeting with the National Assembly. So what have you been operating?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Don't forget that I humbly refer Mr. Chairman to the fact that we have standing committees in the Senate. 35 members of National Assembly runs oversight function of the Senate, runs oversight function of NDDC. 76 members of the House of Rep runs oversight function. They visit us. The discussions have been going on. The communications have been going on.
Oga Sole Administrator.
Approval is here.
Wait.
I have my approval.
Wait. Look at the date of the approval.
Well, the date of the approval.
What is the date?
I'm seeing November here.
Yes.
November what?
2021.
Yes.
Good. And you are talking about what? When? If you have votes and proceedings of December 2020, and the letter will not come out until November 2021.
Do you understand what the point the chairman has been laboring himself to make?
I understand the point.
In your presentation, you said you appeared before the House, you made efforts to defend the budget, and that by December, when you ran to the National Assembly, the National Assembly in December approved the budget and extended two things. They approved, then they also extended the lifespan, and that was the budget you ran with. That was the impression you created. And to buttress that, you yourself, no other person, you yourself in your submissions before us now, you annexed the votes and proceedings of the House. But the chairman is now drawing your attention to the page that tells you that, look, the votes and proceedings you have brought indicates that approval, whatever it was from the House of Reps, we have not seen the one for the Senate, but the one for the House of Reps we are talking about was in respect of an approval dated November 17. The following year, November before December, almost a full year. And therefore, that has now given rise to further inquiry as to what you ran with for 2020 and also even 2021.
I don't know whether...
Sorry, for you to answer, put your mic on. Put your mic on. Put it on.
Addendum to what Dixon said.
No, this one.
You want to say something?
Yes, let me clarify. Put your mic on. Okay. Now, if you look at House in plenary, Mr. Speaker in the chair reported that the House Committee of Supply considered the report on the 2020 budget of the Niger Delta Development Company to expand the lifespan of the budget from 2021 March to December 2021 and adopted the report. This is also further confirmation that the budget that was approved in November 2021 is what you ran from January 2021. So the conclusion that I want to make here is that further, there was no approval of National Assembly for 2020 budget. For it even to be, it has been extended, but there was no approval.
Let me add something.
Mr. Chairman, I beg to differ.
Let me say something.
I beg to differ.
Chairman, your mind is on the paragraph that you just mentioned. I don't see House of Representatives extending what is not in existence. There must be breaking communication here. I don't see National Assembly extending what is not in existence. There must have been approval for 2020 budget.
Thank you.
Before they extended the time.
Thank you.
It's not possible for us to come and extend a budget that is not in existence. So I think you didn't do a thorough work by checking whether there was an existing budget, existing budget before you joined NDDC. There must have been existing budget for 2020 before you joined, because if there was no approved budget for 2020, there wouldn't have been any budget to be extended by the House of Representatives. And your own letter to even the Senate President wasn't right, because you couldn't have written in December while the approval was given 1 year after. So there must be break in communication here. Either there was a budget, he didn't look at it, or nobody called the attention to it when you assumed office, because I doubt we have votes and proceedings here. And there's no way we'll come to National Assembly, we'll start extending what is not in existence. It's not possible. There must be break in communication here. And I think you have to do thorough work to unravel the discrepancy between 2020 and 2021.
There was no approved budget. 2020 budget was approved here. This is like going to High Court, and you are in the same court that gave you a judgment.
I agree with you, there's an approval, but when was that approval done? Because they couldn't have extended budget of extension from March to December, which means there was an approval of budget from 2020 to that March of 2021 that they now extended to December 2021. You get the point? So there must be. You give me yes. So there must be an approval. Yeah. So I don't want to believe that you ran with that budget. You did. You ran the office with a budget, but there must lay our hands to that budget.
We had a budget, and we had engagement. Had engagement with the National Assembly. With the two committees, the Senate committee and the House committees. We were having engagement, and they were saying that, look, we have approved a budget for you for 2020 in December, but there is no way we can do justice to ourselves by telling you this budget will only run for 10 days. So the House of Rep, in their engagement with us at the committee level, submitted that we are
to defend the position you are taking.
Yeah.
Whether you are going to NDDC, whether you are going to National Assembly, how you get those documents, as far as we are concerned, that there are documents that you have stated here, that we find that there are communication gaps. So the point that we are making, my colleague here will just give you one comment, will make a comment or question, and then I will finally rule on this, and then we move forward.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I think the whole issue, to me, is simple and unambiguous. He wrote to the House of Reps requesting for his 2020 budget to be extended, the lifespan of the budget to be extended to December 2021. And this budget is a product of this National Assembly. So whether him bringing budget from NDDC or not, we are in a position to have the budget even more than he is. So you direct your clerk to reach out to the committee on NDDC to get us their 2020 approved budget.
From 2020.
Clerk, are you listening?
Yes.
And not only that, the votes and proceedings.
Yes.
That is one.
Where the budget was approved, 2020, December, and then November 2021.
Okay, fine. Listen, that is one part of my submission.
Even 2019.
Mr. Chairman, when you go through his letter, and I read those, the House at its plenary on Wednesday, 17 November 2021, considered and approved the amendment of the lifespan of the 2020 budget of the Commission by altering the expiration date of the budget from March 2021 to December 2021. This approval was granted in November, and the budget expired in March. Normally, if you want a budget lifespan to be extended, you are to apply before the expiration of the budget, so that you don't run into a difficulty of operating the budget without even getting the approval. And in the event the approval is not granted, what will happen? So you still run into problem now, because the budget expires in March and approval was granted in November. So you have April, May, June, July, August, September, October. 7 consecutive months spending a budget without approval. Because the lifespan of the budget expires in March and approval was granted in November. Assuming you apply, they refuse to grant the approval, what will happen? I don't know if I got the mathematics very well. No, it was approved, but then he was spending the money from March to November. Normally, Mr. Managing Director, even the national budget, if we approve a lifespan of the budget to terminate in December, they will normally apply from October, and before December, we will grant the approval. Then they will keep on spending their money. But they don't wait for the approval to be granted in November, while it has expired in March. I don't know whether I got that.
I have your question.
And when you got the mathematics very well.
I have your question, distinguished Senator. Okay. The document that you have at hand did not emanate from me.
Just hold on. You can put on the mic, Your Honor. Now, we have listened carefully. We have also looked at your preliminary, I would want to call this one a preliminary submission. And we have put our heads together here. We want to give you time to have access to every document you think you can be able to get. We are not saying you must bring this or that. In defense of all the issues that you have raised here. Those you cannot be able to bring, those of National Assembly, we can get them. Those of Niger Delta, if you can't find, if you cannot, tell us when you come that you cannot. We will summon, since the MD is coming, because at least the MD will have access. The chairman of the board is here. So they will have access to whatever document in the Niger Delta, unless if it's one way or the other, it's destroyed. So we have put our heads together here and want to give you a privilege and opportunity to go and reflect very, very well. If you had written this one in a haste, now you are given another opportunity. Go and look at the documents once again, what you have written, and then come with, like the presidential, approval to operate the budget, for the last years. So, according to the Constitution. So, we do not want to take much of your time again. We do not want to discuss this matter further. So, we are giving you until Monday, 10 o'clock to come, for further discussion on this matter. And I want to say you are not even discharged.
Chairman, Monday, with due respect to Chairman,
I have not finished.
Today and Monday is the same date.
I have not finished. So, but if you think today and Monday are the same, so we can lay all
working day.
No. No, the assumption, well, you do not need a working day to reflect.
No, because of documents,
Except we come in the evening on Monday.
it needs at least one working day.
Yeah, it is a working day.
Okay,
One
fine.
or 2 working days.
Can't do magic.
No, 2 working days. We are presenting this report on Tuesday.
So we can present an
We
interim.
can
We can do it on Wednesday.
Yeah.
So we
has
can-
to-
We can do it on Wednesday.
So, but unfairly, let us have it on Monday. We can Monday 3 p.m.
Tuesday will be better for you. Tuesday will be better for you.
Wait. Remember when I stood up in the Senate and asked for extension? Remember what happened?
We have to be reasonable
No,
now.
we have to.
No, I'm coming.
We have been asking you about budgetary provisions, expenditures, whether they conform to this or not. I would like, when you come on Tuesday, if possible, for you to guide us in terms of the expenditures that were made vis-a-vis the revenue flow for those years. When you say the law says spend on recurrent this. This was what we spent on recurrent in a way that we can relate to. Okay? And then secondly, on the revenue side too, as Chairman rightly observed, the monies and inflows were coming. There was no year that the NDDC did not get monies from the federal government, or from the IOCs, or from the Ecological Fund, or from the IGR and other sources. So, and we will talk about the revenues when you come later, okay? So, arm yourself, and if possible, help us in your submissions that you bring on that to make it easy for us. As at the time you were there, 2020, 2021, 2022, before you left, the revenue flows, okay? Thank you, Chair.
Okay, well, thank you very much. In the absence of this, we are adjourning hearing from you from today to Tuesday at 3 p.m.
Appeal for us to just focus on the main problem. You see, it has of the managing director. Clearly, you shall do A, B, C, D with the approval and directions of the board. He can't even do one item in the whole process without the approval. That's what is there. But they have a mindset. It didn't start today. It started from Ompade, 1998. All the staff were absorbed and brought to NDDC. And they've been growing like that. We have almost all of them, they've been there since 98. So we have a situation where even when a new person comes, they tell you this is how we used to operate, this is how we used to run. What I see in the management is that they are willing to work with the board. But maybe there are influences. I can't speculate on that. But the truth is, in the rules, the managing director has approval limits. The management team has approval limits. The board approves up to 1 billion. I think managing director has 2.5 million. The management 50. But the approvals have been going on for 5 months, over 700, 800, 1 billion. We don't know. We don't even know the account of the commission. And if after forensic audit, the president decided to set up a board that should veer away from what was obtained in the past, but people are fixated with the mindset of the past. I tell them, I've been a legislator for 16 years, that no matter what you do, we will not be a part of it. We will not. Then, having known the present minister and the past minister, some people were viewed as having come from Akpabio or not from Akpabio. I should tell the truth. So, we have those issues. But the nitty-gritty is, what is the approval limit of the managing director? X amount. What is the approval limit? After that is board. Nobody has come to board for 5 months. And the way the whole thing is construed is that any expenditure is seen in remitter. We never approved any. I'm telling you honestly, if you really want to help, say come over to Macedonia and help us. If you want to improve, look at the amount involved. For 22 years, no single state capital in the 9 states that you can boast or see any new thing. Except maybe Akwa Ibom and now Rivers. I beg you, we don't have any issue. We all came together, past screening, appeared before you, but nothing is moving. Yes, few people may get rich, few people may be happy, they are being favored. But that's not the intent of your law. And I beg you, the Constitution clearly says, National Assembly, you owe us to make sure laws made by you are implemented according to the rules. It is there. So,
why we find it difficult to align with you is that you ought to have come here with your submissions. If you had come here with your submissions, these are the projects that are approved without authority, these are their thresholds, they have surpassed this, they did this, but we don't have anything from you. And there's no way we can, based on argument or hearsay, no submission from you, nothing from you, nothing. You've just said something now, which means you have some idea, you have an idea what's going on, but you don't have the documents before us. We should be able to have them.
we believe there's hope for rapprochement. That's why.
Yeah, sorry. I will say that it was.
Before you respond,
Okay.
maybe if I link you with this, you can give us a general response. I still can't understand why the board cannot meet, even without these people. I can't understand. If you are talking about quorum law, go to go to 2.1. The board shall meet whenever it is summoned by the chairman, and if the chairman is required to do so by notice given to him by not less than 4 other members, he shall summon a meeting of the board to be held within 14 days from the date. Has any of those notices given? Has any notice been given? So that notice is given and MD refused to come, or executive director refused to come, or both of them refused to come. Is there any notice given?
I answered 4 of them. 4 have been given. In fact, today is Friday.
The last page, second.
Today is Friday. We were supposed to have a board meeting today, but I gave the notice about 2 weeks ago, and we are not holding the meeting. A few days ago, everything was fine until a few days ago. I started. He wrote to me to say the meeting couldn't hold. Could it move to next week? And I said fine. And that's what we have been doing. We move it to that next week. Another reason comes why we cannot hold the meeting. So I am hoping and hopefully we will have this meeting by next week. Because unless we meet, we can't make resolutions, we can't decide on issues. A lot of our young people are restive in the Niger Delta. They need to be equipped with skills, requisite skills that will help them to put food on their tables and those of their families. But we are sitting down and deciding whether we should attend a board meeting or we shouldn't attend. We are sitting down and doing what we like without recourse to the law, and excluding the board from everything. There are people in the Niger Delta that depend on what we do there, and those should be our concern. If everybody should just follow the rules, follow the laws, the National Assembly that made the law made it in such a way that, yes, MD is the chief accounting officer of the commission, but he must have a recourse to the board before he spends certain amount of money. But we hear in the rumor, some staff forward to us, to me in particular, many of the staff, they are tired of the old order. They want something, they want a new lease of life. In fact, our staff, we are owing them. We are owing our staff. We are owing contractors. We just go, our youth are roaming the streets. We are not doing anything. So we need, I'm asking.
Your submission, all the things you're saying, none is on the paper.
No, because I only received this last night and I didn't want to disrespect you by not coming here. Yeah. I did not want to it's not in my nature to disrespect people not even people that are not in authority. How much more the highest lawmaking body in our nation. So that is the situation.
Okay.
That is the situation.
All right, thank you very much. While we are holding you on, I want to listen to the member of the executive. You heard what they said. Before you do your own presentation, you heard what they said. Whether that is true or not true, you are here to confirm that either you or another ED or the MD deliberately or inadvertently, could not attend at least the board meeting that they had after the inauguration, right?
Yes.
So over to you, General.
The chairman, this distinguished ad hoc committee of the Senate, my distinguished Senator Okwenife, a member of the committee. My name is Major General Charles Ayriawere, the Executive Director of Finance and and Administration, NDDC. Well, just to answer directly to the questions, we resumed in NDDC January 5th, after being inaugurated by the Ministry of Niger Delta Commission. And what I will see and probably say today is that we all resumed on the same day. The board, the management team resumed the same day. And there seemed to have been an error in that procedure. The management team was supposed to have taken over from the managing director. There was a managing director who managed the affairs of the ministry for about 2 months before we resumed, after the sole administrator was removed. All members of the board resumed the same day, and that started the problem. The second problem was the signature issues. CBN has their laws, the Ministry of Finance has its procedure, statutory signatories. That was where the second error came from. And this brought trust issues at that level. We had that as the first meeting, we had the second meeting, and even the third we are talking about was also adopted. That third meeting, we were invited to a committee for this same budget, which we have documents to show, that of the 2023, which just started in April, was submitted September 2022. We have documents to show that. It was submitted to the presidency or to the ministry, the supervisory ministry. And we came in and the budget was shown that we have the 2023 budget available, 2022 and 2021, to defend before the House Committee of Niger Delta and the House Committee.
The Senate Committee.
Sorry, and the Senate Committee on Niger Delta, the two committees, they give us different dates, and we have been showing up. Number of times we've asked, they said the chairman does not need to be there, we need to brief her. On an occasion, she called me and said, I am aware there's a budget discussion going on. Why am I not informed? And I told her that at this level, it's a management thing and we needed to put figures and understand the figures before presenting it before the board. Coincidentally, this budget for 2023 has just been approved, and 2021, 2022 has been stepped down for some further issues, which we are here for today. And those are the key issues. The only time we haven't been there has to do with budget and date conflicts. And I think we needed
this committee also covers the budget expenditure of January to May, which of course people started spending before the approval, before the appropriation. So did you carry the board along in the expenditure of January to May?
January to May.
Or you have not been spending any money from January to May?
We have not awarded any contracts at this level. And I want to also say here, as a point of observation, that after this law came out in 2020, the procurement law has also come out in 2007. And it takes precedence over these issues we are all talking about. So that has been one of the critical issues that we should also look at in our...
That's the Procurement Act.
The Procurement Act puts it squarely on the shoulders of the managing director, who is the
There's not bequeath about that. Nobody is talking about it.
Yes,
There's not bequeath. But then, as the board, you resume the same time with them.
Yes.
And you had the first management board meeting, the second board meeting. Are you telling us between that January and May, yes, and subsequently before the budget came to us for appropriation to the National Assembly for subsequent approval, which we did, I think, on Tuesday or so, yes, or Wednesday, Tuesday, yes, Tuesday, we approved it on Tuesday. There was no expenditure by the current management of NDDC between January and from the time you were appointed till now,
except
that needed attention of the board chairman. So everything was within your threshold.
Yes, everything was within our threshold.
Threshold
of the MD.
Of the MD.
Yes.
Do you have such documents?
Don't have those are
Would like to have it
them together, even because they moved from one office, which was on Aba Road, to the new office. So those documents.
But as they're moving, they move with the documents. Documents most times now are in the system.
Some of
They
them
are
are
not
in the
even in
warehouse.
the paper.
Some of them are in the warehouse, and we are putting together. And that's what we put on the fourth paragraph. That we'll put them together and present them. They are actually working as we speak.
So how about those days that he called meeting and you said you were in Abuja for budget presentation?
We were actually here by the various committees. They invited us and we came.
How many times did that happen?
That has happened well over 4 times that we have been invited to discuss.
So there will always be coincidence that each time they call meeting, that will be the same time you appear before National Assembly.
One other issue to point out, I'm a member of the board, I'm also a member of the management.
Yes.
Most of those invitations come a day before. They are all on our chat.
No prior notice.
No prior notice. They are here, they are on the chat. We have a chat and we can print it out. They come a day before. And you see, I have been in boards. You must prepare. Even when
board meetings are prepared 2 weeks, 3 weeks before the time.
This is the last one.
But she's saying she will give no. She has always been giving prior notice.
This last one that has not been able to go, we have moved to Tuesday or Wednesday now, is the one that has been given notice for 2 weeks. And we are working on it, we are ready. Luckily, the budget 2023, which we are to operate from April this year, is now ready. So we have a lot of things to present. And we have also made it possible that all the committees that have been inaugurated, that is subcommittees of the board, also will present.
Did you inherit any part of 2020? 2022 has been extended to July.
We've not
so are you not operating the 2022 budget?
We have not been informed. The 2023 has just
we are still
passed.
the ones passing. So you didn't spend anything?
We have not. It has not.
No expenditures whatsoever.
Well, it's except some of them we.
Because the law permits you to spend the actual amount to spend for 2021, no budget for 2020. So which one are you relying on? Related by the law?
Performance we presented. That's the last budget performance we presented. We are working on the others now with the hope that our budget will be approved. Thank you very much, Your Excellency.
Okay, a big communication gap. But let me say this. Running of a commission does not begin and end with contracts. It does not begin and end with contracts. Why should the board, or is it the chairman that is insisting that she has to be signatory to the account? Is that what you are saying?
Did she write to you that she wants to be, or she said that verbally? Because it's unheard of.
Because she's not an executive chairman, so there's no way she can be signatory to the account.
She said that to you, or she put it in writing. I haven't heard that before.
Why will that be an issue?
She also even signed the CBN cards, which was presented to the Accountant General's office, and they were duly rejected from the Accountant General's office. That was at that level.
On behalf of the commission?
On behalf of the commission, it was refused.
You see, the card was it to pay salary or to pay for
all the accounts, all the TSA accounts, to change the signatories, and they were rejected.
It's not heard. I haven't heard this kind of thing.
No,
Actually, all of them were there, the management team. And we were in a quandary, kind of. As I'm speaking to you, I pray that at the end of it, you ask them, where are the accounts and which are the accounts? We do respect. We have it on record, we have up to 300 accounts. 362.
Accounts for one commission?
Yes, meanwhile, the TSA says one accounts, whether it is euro, pounds, because the IOCs, they pay in dollars and pounds. So I'm saying that the board doesn't know anything about accounts. When we came in, we heard that the ministry had opened 3 accounts, making it close to 400 accounts. So which account are we opening? Is it that you go to Shell and say, here's a personal account? You go to Mobile and say, here's a personal account. So we said, look, since we don't know account, for every kobo to pass through, there should be a check. I've been commissioner twice. What we do is PAMSEC will sign the account and assign confirmation. So we said, can we introduce that so that every kobo coming out, with due respect, sir, if you go through what has come into our commission as an imprest per month, you will weep. So we said, we don't know. How can we become, and they said it will come complicit the moment they find out the total, the volume of money that has left. EFCC got so much money, which the federal government had authorized before forensic. And EFCC even invited her, ICP invited her. She kept on saying, I don't know anything. So in the board, it had nothing to do with the chairman. I'm saying it publicly. I said, why don't we make it, the signatories will sign, but confirmation should come from the board, let us know. It was defeated. They've been signing, so we don't know anything.
It wasn't defeated in the board. Confirmation of any
signatory cards.
Said the board decided. She was not the one. It was everybody.
Listen.
No, we passed that resolution.
Board resolution.
Please, wait. We are in charge here. We are in charge here.
Okay, can I answer something?
Madam, did you sign any signatory card and send to Accountant General's office?
I didn't send anything to I didn't take anything to Accountant General's office. It was a board resolution. The board, resolved, and he himself.
No matter whether board resolution or not, did you sign on behalf of the board? On behalf of the board? Was there anything like that?
Yes, yeah, I did. And then he took it to the Accountant General's office. Can he read out what the response from the Accountant General's office to know whether they did exactly what the Accountant General's office said they should do?
No, my question is this: if you sign the
yes,
who are now going to be which signatures did you introduce to them?
I don't understand.
I mean, if you sign the authorized signatories, now who are those authorized signatories you want to change the old ones?
His was there.
Yes.
Then the Charles. That's so and
yourself
and myself. Then after that, we did not hear anything about it again until I got a copy of the letter from him. In fact, he was holding it and reading it out near where I sat. So I used my phone to capture it.
So how many accounts did you write them to change the same? Because he said they had up to 360 accounts.
No.
62. Okay, so how many accounts did you now write them to change the signatures?
It's the ones at just one, the one at the central bank. But later on, they also went, removed my name and submitted the others.
Because Central Bank will not accept it.
No, Central Bank would accept it because I went to Central Bank and Central Bank told me what to do. And we are yet to hold a meeting so that I can brief the Central Bank. The Central Bank would accept it because it's done with other commissions. The Central Bank would accept it.
Other commissions,
but the office of the Accountant General told them to go back. I have forgotten how they phrased it, but it meant that they should go back to source, that they should go back to the board. But they didn't come back to the board. They went to Central Bank and established themselves, and that's where they...
To go back to the board to do what? Since the board took the resolution and
yes,
you convert the resolution of the board to CBN. So what did the CBN tell them to go back to board to go?
It's not CBN, it's the office of the Accountant General.
Yes, to go back
they
to
should
the board
go to the board to make me a confirming to the board. They just went to the Central Bank.
The confirming authority to CBN and the Accountant General's
office.
So that when they sign the check, you now confirm the check.
And that's what the CBN said. The CBN said that I should be the confirming authority, but up to today we haven't been able to do that. They just took only their names to Central Bank, and that's how we they began to just spend the way they like.
Okay. Where in this act or anywhere else does the board has the power, okay, to pass resolution to become the accounting officers or accounting? No, because the moment, no, listen, madam, listen. The moment you sign accounts, you have become an accounting officer. Let us not play with this at all. These are facts, because it is usurping the powers of the executive management to the board. And I don't think this act has actually permits you to do that. That is one. Two, in the financial regulations of the operation of parastatals, there is nowhere such a thing has been indicated. Once you are not the accounting officer, when I finish you can talk, there is nowhere you will have two accounting officers. There's always one accounting officer. If the board wants to be the accounting officer of the commission, I'm coming. Let there be amendment to this act. Then the chairman of the board will become an executive chairman and will be the accounting officer of the institution. You see, gradually we are arriving at where the problem is. You know where the problem is? There is nowhere here I stand to be corrected. I have the functions of the board, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, yes, 4, 5, 6. A to F.
If you go to 12,
you know?
go to 12.
So we cannot see how.
Can I respond, sir?
Before you respond, madam, if you go to 12, because you told us that the major problem is that you want them to follow the law. That you emphasized on it, you want them to follow the law. If I take you to 12B, the managing director shall be the chief executive and accounting officer of the commission. It is clearly stipulated in the act. Clearly stipulated, and you cannot confirm an instrument, banking instrument that you did not issue. You can't. Maybe you can do that in your private business, but this is government office. You can do that in your personal business or your company business, but this is government. You cannot confirm because you don't even have right to all the thresholds. They have their own to confirm. So there's no way you confirm an instrument of bank that you did not issue. They cannot issue a check or issue an instrument of the bank, then you will not be the one to confirm. How do you even know that you're going to confirm the right thing? And if you're following the law, there's no way in this law you can say that the board chairman or even a board member or any other person is an accounting officer. He's an accounting officer, he's the MD, and he's accountable to all the transactions, financial transactions of the commission. Yeah, go ahead.
Can I speak? You officer, accounting officer. There were 4 signatories, I think, and mine. That's 5. 3 of us and myself are not accounting officers. And we had gone past that many months ago, many weeks ago. They were asked to follow the right process by the Accountant General's office. They didn't. They just did what pleased them. But me, I have moved on. I have moved on long ago. We have met several times after that. I've met several times with the MD. And if I haven't met with the MD since, then let it be at least 10 times. We have met, we talk on the phone, we exchange WhatsApp messages, and it's been, we have moved on. What we are just saying, let us not keep talking about accounting officer. Nobody wants to be accounting officer. I don't want to be the accounting officer of the company. Because the board, it was a board resolution. In fact, I went to a senator sent for me and sent for him as well. And we got to his house and the senator said to me, you can't do this. And I said, fine. And I said, but the board resolved. And he said to me, the board resolved, board resolution. I said, yes. And he said, yes, you have to do it. Ask him, he was there. So I don't see, if the board has resolved, then if the board cannot make a resolution and we follow the resolution of the board, then what are we doing as board members? What are we doing as board members? We have our own rules.
I will tell you.
Need to read.
What section of the law is that?
Off your mic now.
Part 5.
Part
Part
5.
5. Number 3. We get our sources from grants, provision by federal government and all that. Then they said, see how the funds are to be managed. 14.3. The fund shall be managed in accordance with the rules made by the board.
Absolutely.
And without prejudice to the generality of the powers.
Which one? Where are you reading? You say
14
5.
sub
Part
3.
five.
Part 5, 14.
14.3.
3. The fund, whatever comes in, shall be managed in accordance with the rules made by the board, and without prejudice to the generality of the power to make rules under the subsection. The rules shall in particular contain provisions, specify the manner in which the assets of the fund of the commission are to be held, and regulating the making of payments into or out of the accounts of the commission. B, requiring the keeping of proper accounts.
Stop there. Let me correct you. Management is different from operation. You are operating. This is operation. But
This one is management.
yes, this one is management. The law said, the law has given you the power. You can make your rules. How you want the management to operate. You have the powers to do that. To make rules, how you want the management to operate. You have those powers. You can say, look, you cannot sign a check above this. You cannot do this. You cannot do. You can do all this, but the board cannot pass resolution. I'm coming, madam. But the board has no power to pass a resolution to operate. It has no powers. It has no powers. We are here to try to solve the problem. Because when we come to pass our own committee reports, we will put these things so that, in the final analysis, we have to solve this problem once and for all. We are not happy that budget of 2021, 2022 has not been approved up till today. And how many years passed? Salaries were paid, overheads were done, capital budgets were, capital expenditures were done outside the approval of the National Assembly. So we are not happy that this is happening at this point in time. Nobody is happy. But if the board comes with this, there's a difference between operation and management. And you have the right to put your rules. The board has a right to put whatever rules it deems fit, but not to operate. You cannot put the role that, look, you are management, we are operating. No, what you read is managing your rules. It's your rules. Do your rules as you deem fit. You have the powers to do. Where they are not obeyed, there are sanctions. There are sanctions. As a board, you have the powers to do your rules. So I think that is why one of the issues that we have to solve, that one should be solved. But there's a new thing that has come. If NDDC has over 360 bank accounts, over 300, I'm coming before you answer, 362 bank accounts. And these bank accounts are active bank accounts. And the bank accounts are in Forex. Are they all in central bank? Or they are in different banks? No, if you say you don't know, you are before the parliament. You cannot say you don't know what you are talking about. So if you say they have over 360, you have to provide that information.
And the banks.
If you are alleging, we will now call them to prove. So we will not just sit down. No, if you have.
You have to provide us with account details.
How do you know it's 362?
You have to bring them.
Mr.
You are
Chairman,
late, you have to prove
with
it.
due respect,
You know?
Mr. Chairman, with due respect, we've come here to give you as much information as possible.
I
Both the
agree.
management and
No, we're okay with that, but you have
the
to-
minister in the retreat, we had the same argument, told us that during the hiatus between the sole administrator, that he only opened 5 extra accounts. And since we have
Extra to the 360.
62,
To the
You'll be
362
shocked.
plus another 5.
367 now.
and what we are saying, sir, is that we are supposed to be receiving funds from sundry sources, almost all the IOCs. There's no list. If you are going to go forward, we must have a list. And since we are mandated to open TSA, Treasury Single Account, we are supposed to have one. Do we have one account? Just that question.
So how do you now address your point if we don't have those details? You should give us the details. You that know.
We are not
Assuming They say
operating.
they don't have up to 362 accounts.
They can't say that. They've not said that.
Bring the accounts. Yeah, go ahead.
Between the board and the management. But I'm so excited that the chairman of the committee that examined the handing and taking over notes, we inherited from Engineer Audu, who is a director in the system, is available. The Prince was the chairman, and he gave us 2 accounts, one for recurrent and one for capital. The recurrent has to do where the federal government gives us salaries and so on and so forth. And the other one is the...
So he's the director in Niger Delta Affairs?
Yes, they are in CBN.
Or a director in CBN?
He's a director in Niger Delta, Engineer Audu.
His name is Engineer
Engineer Audu, yes. We have posted him now as Director Delta.
Is
And
Engineer Audu?
I will give you the full name.
He is the one who provided the handover documents to you?
To us, yes. He's a member of the system. And then, 2, we inherited a commission that just passed through forensic audit. We also inherited a system, that is a commission, that all collections except those coming from the federal government were collected by EFCC. And they were paid into a dedicated account opened by the minister of the federal capital, the minister of Niger Delta Territory. So as we speak, we only have 4 TSA accounts. 4. The first is the overhead. The second is the one's the foreign, that's the foreign account. Then there's foreign account. Then the third is the newly opened account for EFCC remittance. And the fourth, that is Naira, and then the dollar. There are 2 accounts. So
EFCC, there are 2.
EFCC are 2,
Naira
one for
and
Naira and dollar. That's one. Those are the 4. And I can say here that those are the 4 cards we presented on the first entry. My point of observation is that if signature change was an issue during our first meeting, it would have been in the agenda. I, as the finance officer, and based on my past experience as the head of the Nigerian Finance Corps, I brought it up as an AOB that the board needed to give approval for change of signatories. It wasn't an issue. It wasn't an issue.
So how many accounts are you running?
Now we are running 4. That is 2 special accounts, that is the EGO and the EFCC, and those 2 EFCC, and then the 2 that we met as regular accounts. That's all. I know nothing about. Luckily, I'm the.
Since he said they are running only 4 accounts,
Yes.
they are running.
Yes, so probably they have that.
You provide us with those
Definitely,
accounts.
so that we can pursue them. Because before we came in, the TSA was already in operations, and it's very easy. As we speak, the MD, who has mandated me to be here, has also set up committees to reconcile what we got from the EFCC. Even before we came on board, there were rumors. I don't believe in rumors. There were rumors that we had over 500 billion waiting in the EFCC. And I can tell you, there was nothing like that. And the truth is that the 2023 budget was predicated on that. So we are on it. These are things we've been reconciling. On a number of occasions, I've been invited as the head of the accounting department to EFCC. I've been there. So these are the two critical issues that must be addressed until...
Are you a signatory to the account?
I am a signatory to the account.
How many signatories do you have to the account?
The four accounts, that's all I know.
No, how many signatories to the account of the company?
There are...
The MD yourself?
The MD, actually the MD is not even a signatory. The MD is a confirming officer. It's myself, the executive director, project, in case I'm not around, we are alternates.
Yeah,
Then the director of finance and director audit as B signatories. In case the director of finance is not around, the director audit signs for him.
So any two to sign?
Any two to sign.
Okay, just as by the way, from my own little knowledge, an auditor cannot sign
Which is true.
the transaction.
Very correct. So,
Auditor cannot sign. Why will he audit then?
just in case it's not around. In case.
No, whoever, he cannot be.
Okay, that was also corrected.
If you are trying to balance, auditor cannot sign. What will he audit? So this is just by the side anyway, because some of these things that are coming out. I want further clarification on this EFCC issue. EFCC is collecting some funds on behalf of NDDC from the IOCs only. Okay, not from government.
No, not from government.
Why?
Okay.
I think there was during the process before we came in, where there were complaints, I'm sure.
Okay, fine. We
want to know why.
will find out.
That they were not paying regularly.
Yeah.
And as a result, the EFCC was not to...
So maybe it's seen as a crime to
stand in for the commission and collect
Ensure speedy and the timely
collection.
So the account were opened by EFCC or the account directed, or EFCC directed?
Those cards were given to us on resumption.
So minister opened two accounts,
Yes.
one naira and $1 account, where remittances from IOCs will go into, as probably recovered by EFCC, and they are only from IOCs, only from those ones. Okay. So you inherited. Okay. Now that you have inherited that, so are the accounts in CBN?
Yeah, in CBN, TSA accounts in CBN.
Okay. So you have about 4 TSA accounts now, right? 4 TSA accounts. Okay, fine. TSA accounts. Well, we are now getting this information. Let me come back to Our Excellency. Please, all the submissions we have spoken here, we want them in writing and to be represented on Monday. Go cool off a little bit, write, and then go finally make final presentation. That is why we will discharge you now, but certainly we are not acquitting you. So you want to ask them?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Apart from the written documents on Monday, he alleged that they have 367 accounts. We would like you to give us the list on Monday. The list of the accounts, if possible, the agencies that pay money to those accounts. And if you can also avail us with the balances in those accounts, that would be fine. Because it's important to have them. Statement. If he doesn't have the statement, let him just give us the list of the accounts and the signatories to those accounts.
On behalf of the board,
Didn't say that, you said that.
Yes.
So we'd like to have the...
But she can concur as chairman of the board.
Of course, yes. Sorry.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. You are disturbed. Okay, quickly. We have not finished with you. I see you are packing your books.
Sir, I want to raise this concern. We saw the content of a letter to the chairman for her to appear here over submissions. And when I started talking, I raised a concern. I said, when this board was inaugurated and we have started these issues developed, we decided to go into harmonious relationship with the minister and other members of the management to sort out all these challenges so that the board can function. I urge you, in the course of your mandate, to try and see how you can help that. The issue of management of funds and signatories is an issue that was an issue in January. It died then. We never talked about it in any of the proceedings, any of the issues, in any of the memos that even our chairman brought to the board and we are ratified. So please, let us not digress by actually not achieving what we as the board wants to achieve, because if we don't achieve that, we can't run oversight. So it's very important. We want to achieve harmony for us to do effective oversight that the government yes, with the management, and that's what we're here.
But our mandate is different from your mandate.
No,
in as
no.
much as your mandate is also what you want.
Yes.
Yes, but we're here to unravel the expenditure of 2021, 2022, and the first quarter and second quarter of this year. That's the mandate of the committee. But while doing that, we'd like to have an agency that works.
Okay.
An agency cannot work optimally without the board.
Thank you.
Definitely, without the board.
Okay, quickly, I didn't use my gavel yet. I forgot to raise this issue in the letter you sent down, because he is here now. You said, in this regard, it has been alleged that 4 billion naira was spent with approval of the ministry for a retreat for the board and management in January 2023. 4 billion naira spent with the approval of ministry. Is it true?
Sorry.
Is it true?
That is not true. I won't have those documents, but 4 billion is not true.
Okay, it's not true. Madam said it's probably true, so we can have document in that respect.
To support it, yes.
Number two.
I said it was alleged. He's here now. Let him.
What he say is not true.
No. He was supposed to give us a report on that retreat. Up till now, we don't have it.
But where did you get it?
He was supposed to. The staff.
The staff. So the staff has to come with you to prove the allegation.
The staff.
Okay.
The staff.
Since there's a report for the retreat that you want, is the report ready?
That's also 500 million.
No,
is
he
it?
said.
No,
There should be a report.
Okay, there should be a report, and is it ready?
I will ask him.
Okay. And also the second one, alleged that 500 million was spent on PPP summit in Lagos, where a purported $15 billion MOU was signed by the management for a railway. So 500 million was spent on public-private partnership summit in Lagos. That is what the board is alleging. Is it true?
I have no knowledge of that amount.
Can I say where I
Then two,
Yes.
please.
Okay. You have no knowledge. Let her talk.
let him finish.
I want to finish because you asked two questions.
Yeah.
The second one was just an MOU. An MOU is not an agreement. It was, we set up a committee, a PPP committee.
No, the 500 million spent on PPP summit is different from the MOU.
Yeah, we didn't spend that. I'm not aware that we spent up to 500.
Did you have any PPP summit?
We had a PPP summit in
You
Lagos.
had it in Lagos.
Yes,
Okay.
we had.
Have you written a report?
The report is ready.
For how
for
much you
submission
spend
to the
and
board.
what
Yes,
the
it's ready.
submission to
The board
the
is
board.
ready. It's ready.
Okay, in the process, since we are also looking at your expenditure,
Yes.
we will want to have your two reports and the approvals. So, and
I spoke on the other one.
yes.
Can I speak on the management PPP? Told me it was 700 million, and then he cut it down. They now cut it down to 500 million. So I didn't plug that from.
So is it a provisional sum or it is amount spent?
He said they are spending 500 million. This was a few days before the summit.
That's chairman of the committee.
Yes.
Committee on the
On
project.
the management PPP.
What is his name?
Emmanuel Awudu.
Oh, it's the same Emmanuel Awudu.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
So we'll ask him, we'll have to call him and ask him.
Last information for you, sir.
Yeah.
Let me just, last information.
Go ahead, sir.
Mr. Chairman, you, senators, distinguished senators, with due respect, sir, insofar as we want rapprochement, but let the record show that the interest of NDDC had been moved from 4 billion to 10 billion every month. In December, we had 7 billion. January, February, March, April, we've collected 10 billion. No approval was given by the board. And I suspect the money had totally been exhausted.
Also put it in writing and bring it on.
So I want to first be recorded.
No, you have to put it in writing and bring
No,
it
since he's here now, I think he can confirm clearly.
in writing.
I will. I will.
So for now, and like I said, you know, chairman and the board members, you are discharged, not acquitted. We expect your report and then to be presented on Monday.
Put everything in writing and bring it.
So we see Monday at
2 p.m.
At 2 p.m.
2 p.m. Monday, yes.
Okay. Now it is now that you will do.
Members of this ad hoc committee, the chairman, like I said earlier, my name is Major General Charles Ayeri, retired.
First of all, we are expecting MD of NDDC. Are you the MD of NDDC?
I want first of all introduce myself.
Okay.
And I have his mandate to represent him.
Is
today.
it verbal or written?
It's written, sir.
It's written, he said, he brought it. Sit down, don't worry, go ahead, we don't have the time again.
So, and
I am trying to see where he said the executive director will represent him.
Yes, that's the first. He said, I hereby mandate Major General Charles Ayeri, Executive Director, Finance and Administration of NDDC, to represent me at the committee hearing today, 19th May 2023.
Maybe I don't have a copy of that letter.
That's the one.
It's not your letter now.
No, sorry, that's why I stood up to present.
Because I know I don't have such.
I stood up to present, sir. Apologies.
Okay. Anyway, you have taken your oath.
I have taken the oath.
Okay. Now we have seen the letter, but we will still insist your presentation cannot usurp the presentation of the MD. So he has to appear personally himself.
Yes.
However, go ahead with what you have brought.
Well, let him know that he has to appear.
Thank you very much for this opportunity, distinguished chairman. We were told to present the receipts for 2021. That is from April 1st, 2021 to March 31st, 2022, which is the budget year.
Sorry, what is your budget year? Is I thought it's January to December.
What's our financial year end?
It's January to December, but the budget year is April to March. Just like what?
Why should the budget year be different from your financial year?
Well, probably, I don't know if that has been changed, but that is what we inherited.
So it's terminating in April. So it's April to the other.
It's April to the other year. Like now, the life of
March.
till March. The life of the 2023 is just starting. Just
So
a
your financial year end is April.
yes.
Okay.
So, and what we received the whole of 2021 from the records is 246 billion 257,273 naira 267 10 kobo. That's what we received the whole of that year. Then for 2022, starting from April 2022 to March 2023, which is just about 2 months away, was 353 billion 695 million 497,990 naira 85 kobo. That's what we have received. That's what they received because we're not there then.
This is in your TSA account.
This is in the TSA account. That's
the one that was handed over to you.
That's the one that was handed over to us.
Okay. Does it include the EFCC ones too?
No, because I think the EFCC account was opened.
So this one is
These are from the remitter.
This thing that has come in excludes what EFCC has received.
Has received.
Okay. Okay.
It excludes it. And we have the letter from the EFCC. I think that was dated January. In fact, mainly we resumed. They gave us a letter to that effect. But the expenditure, the requirement on item 2, we are collating. We don't want to make mistakes because they are huge. We made them, they'll be taken from one office to another, and some are in the warehouse. So we've put staff together to collate them. And then we are working on that.
Okay, thank you, Edie. You will have to use all the human resources that you have between Saturday and Sunday and have these things ready by the time the MD comes on Monday. We say at what, 3 p.m.?
Yeah, 3 p.m.
All the resources you have, we cannot wait.
Thank you very much, Excellency.
Okay? So, since you said this one is excluded out of EFCC, we'll have to also invite EFCC. And then, what do you call it? Also give us their own side.